All right, welcome back, everybody. Glad you guys are here today. We're going to be doing our second day talking about the discriminant, which we started talking about yesterday. Now, yesterday, what we found is that in order to find the discriminant, we need to use the formula b squared minus 4 times a times c. That is our discriminant formula, and that always gave us a number. So let's go through on this first problem and do it. Now recall, this is your a value, this is your b value, and this is your c value. So, to plug into this formula, b squared minus 4ac, we're going to have negative 3 squared, because that was our b, minus 4 times our a value, which was 3, times our c value, which was 2. And then we just needed to evaluate. And the way we were evaluating this was by using our calculator. So on our calculator, we would have our parentheses, negative 3 to the second power, minus 4 times 3 times 2. And that would give us an answer of negative 15. Now, yesterday, we were focused on simply finding what the discriminant was. Today, we're going to be focused a little bit more on what the discriminant means. So, the discriminant can mean 3 different things for you. The first thing, so if the discriminant is positive, right? So this is not a positive one. Maybe we have a negative number. If our discriminant is positive, that means that we are going to have 2 solutions. If our discriminant is negative, which this one is, that means we're going to have 0 solutions. Sometimes we say no solution too. And last but not least, if our discriminant is equal to 0, if it ends up being equal to 0, that's like the special situation, then we are going to have 1 solution. So if you haven't already, pause the video, go back and write this part down, because this is really important, and that's kind of the crux of the new stuff that we are talking about in class. So in this situation, we see that our discriminant, the value that we found was negative, so that means that we are going to have 0 solutions for this problem. So we're going to go through today, and we're going to keep on working on finding the discriminant, but our focus is going to be on what does that discriminant actually mean at that point. So here's another problem. Now this one's kind of unique because there's only 2 numbers there. Now, it's important to realize that this is a because a always goes in front of the variable that's squared, and this is b because b always goes in front of the single variable, but we're missing the c. So think about it. What number could I add that wouldn't actually change it? Well, I could come over here and I could add a 0 at the end for c, and that doesn't change my equation. So we're going to do that. So then we know in this situation that this will be A, this will be B, and this will be C. So now let's use our discriminant formula. B squared minus 4 times A times C. B was equal to 4, so I'm going to have 4 squared minus 4 times A, which was negative 9, times C, which was 0. The nice thing about this is we can use that calculator that I shared with you yesterday to actually go through and solve this. So in my calculator, I think I shared, let me get to the calculator I shared with you. I think I shared one that's going to look a little closer to this one. Desmos. There should be a link for it in your Schoology. If you're not finding it, be sure to let me know. But you're just going to type in 4 to the second power minus 4 parenthesis negative 9 parenthesis 0. And I get, it looks like I get positive 16. So since our discriminant is positive, we go back to our list and we say, well, what does that mean? Well, if our discriminant is positive, according to this, it means that we are going to have 2 solutions. So that's what we want to write here. So, 2 solutions. And that will be kind of our answer. Those 2 pieces together, 16 and 2 solutions, are going to be the important pieces here. Let's look at another one. So here's another one for us. So we have negative 9x squared plus 6 minus 1. So we have our A, our B, and our C. So plugging into our discriminant formula, b squared, that means 6 squared minus 4 times a, which is negative 9, times c, which is negative 1. So typing that into our calculator, you're going to have 6 to the second power minus 4 times negative 9, in parentheses, times negative 1. And we get an answer of 0. So when our discriminant's equal to 0, again, we go back to our list. What does that mean? Well, when 0 is our discriminant, that means we get one solution. So we want to come over here and write one solution. In your Schoology assignment today, you're going to have to sit there and include both of these two pieces. What is the discriminant and what does it mean? Here's another problem. This one's missing a term again. So it looks like this one's missing C because this is A and this is B. So let's put in, do you remember what we put in the last time? That's right, we put in a 0. So we can say plus 0 because 0 doesn't change the equation when it gets added to it. So plug it into our discriminant formula. B squared, B was equal to 2, minus 4 times A, which is 8, times C, which is 0. So plugging that in. Oops, let's get out of this one. Well, I'm going to get out of that one too. We have 2 to the second power. Notice how I'm just punching it in the exact way I see it. That's why I always use my parentheses when I write this out. Times 4, parenthesis 8, times parenthesis 0. And when I hit enter, I get 4. So since my discriminant was positive, I'm not going to go back to the list. I'm going to try to remember. If it's positive, that means that you get 2 solutions. Maybe I will go back to my list just to double check. Positive. Oh, yep, it was a positive 4, so that means I get 2 solutions. So we did this correct. Nice job. Let's do another one. So here's another one. Looks like we're missing the C term again. So let's put it in there. So 6x squared minus 8x plus 0 equals 0. It's really important that when you rewrite this, you always have whatever your variable is squared, then the one that only has 1, and then the one that has none. Your exponents should always decrease from left to right. So we know that this is A, this is B, and this is C, so let's use our discriminant formula. It's b squared, so negative 8 squared minus 4 times a, which is 6, times c, which is 0. Now, it's very important here. I went over it quickly. I want to re-show it. b is equal to negative 8. The negative goes with the 8, so it's a negative 8, not a positive 8. So it's important to get that part right. So, negative 8 to the second power minus 4 times 6 times 0. And it looks like we get 64 as our answer. And 64 is, well, it's definitely not a negative number. It's not 0. It must be positive. So that means we are going to get 2 solutions. Nice job. Let's look at the last problem. So here's your last one. So coming over to your last problem. Oh, this one doesn't have a B. So remember, you can put a 1 in there to hold the spot if you're missing just the number. So here's your A, here's your B, and here's your C. So our formula, B squared minus 4AC, that's the one we've been using all day yesterday. Our B value is, it looks like a positive 1. So I'm going to have 1 squared minus 4 times our A value, which was 7, times our C value, which is negative 8. That's right, the negative goes with it. So now let's punch it in. 1 to the second power minus 4 times 7 times a negative 8. And it looks like we get 225. Now, 225 is a positive number. And since it's positive, that means we are going to get 2 solutions. Now, I think in your homework, you're going to have to answer all 3 of these parts. So I think the first part they're going to want is, what is the discriminant? The second part is it positive, negative, or equal to 0? And the last part's going to be, what does it mean? Remember, if you haven't copied down this chart already, I would highly recommend pausing the video right now and doing so. Thank you guys so much for watching the full video. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Excuse me. It's a good thing I'm ending now. Thanks, guys.